The Olympic Games is one of the most highly awaited sporting events in the world that takes place every alternate 4 years. A variety of famous sporting events take place all through the Olympics. With 33 sports and 50 disciplines, it is not surprising that it is one of the biggest sporting events. But not every game in the Olympics attains a massive viewership or popularity. With the Tokyo 2020 Olympics just passing, we have deep dived into what the top 10 most watched or popular sports of the Olympics are. So let us step right in and discover what are the top 10 most popular Olympic sports around the world. Coming in at number 10, rugby. Despite the fact that rugby was only added to the Summer Olympics in 2016, the sport is assumed to be amongst the most popular. It involves players of all ages and genders. Rugby was initially added to the Olympic agenda in 1900 and eventually faded out in 1924. That was when it was a 15-member version, only came back in the Olympic program at the Rio 2016 Olympics, but it had a 7-man format. It turned out to be a massive hit, as stadiums were sold out and many people around the world watched the competitive play with great delight. The Rugby World Cup, which is played by 15 players, is proved to be another one of the biggest events, which also takes place every 4 years, so it makes sense that it takes 10th spot. Powering its way into 9th spot, weightlifting. Weightlifting was first developed in ancient Greece, Egypt and China and became a part of the Olympics in 1896. In the modern Olympic program, what athletes require is to showcase their power by attempting a maximum weight single lift of a barbell loaded with weight plates. Every individual weightlifter would attempt each lift 3 times, and the aggregate of the highest 2 successful lifts specifies the total result within a body weight category. Then, each winner would be entitled to be called the strongest athlete in their body weight category, while the females' body weight categories differ from those of the males. For the first time, female weightlifters joined the sport in 1997. While there's no doubt that doing this sport is a truly Herculean task that only the very strong athletes can participate in, it does draw a large audience base. The first time this sport was played was in the year 1873, and it entered the Summer Olympics in the 1896 Olympic Games being held in Athens. And that sport would be tennis, coming in at number 8. In the inaugural Olympic Games, there were only 2 tournaments in the form of men's singles and men's doubles, yet back then it was not assumed to be that much of a big deal. At the Olympic Games in 1900, females also began to compete in the singles and mixed double tennis events. But nowadays, with the involvement of superstars like Serena Williams and tennis's big 3, Federer, Djokovic and Nadal, the sport has taken a lot more seriously and is also considered to be one of the most popular sports of the Olympic Games, and has huge crowd-filled tournaments outside of the Olympics too, such as Wimbledon. In 7th position, field and beach volleyball. Competitive field volleyball became a part of the Summer Olympics from the year 1964 and beach volleyball from 1996. Most amazingly, unlike many other games, even back then it was applicable for both females and males. This famous sport has 2 teams consisting of 6 players, in which each one tries their utmost to make the highest score points. The sport of volleyball does not receive enough viewership except for the time of the Olympics and gets massive viewership during this Olympic period. Coming in at 6th position, soccer or association football. The entire year long, football fanatics from around the world watch games of their favorite soccer leagues. But soccer, or football as some call it, also has an integral part of the Olympics, and it is also the richest sport in the world and is ranked amongst the highest paying sports and has one of the largest global fan bases. So it is no wonder to see it make the list of the top 10 most popular Olympic sports. Olympics men's soccer was introduced to the Olympics in the 1900s, with women's soccer coming approximately 96 years later in 1996. Bouncing us into the halfway mark, basketball, coming in for number 5. For the first time, basketball appeared at the Olympics in 1936, and 40 years too late, in 1976, female basketball was added to the Olympics too. Basketball, made most popular by the National Basketball Association, or NBA, can attribute to the fact that it is watched by millions of people from all around the world. The game is played between 2 teams having 5 players on each side. We say this as it relates to the fact that the players of the NBA have a huge viewership. And the interesting part is, during this period, the NBA favorite players will not be playing for their respective clubs. Instead, the players travel back to their homelands in order to play for their motherlands. An interesting fact is the best ever performing basketball player at the Olympic Games is considered to be a US female player, Teresa Edwards, who was a member of a 4 gold medal winning team between 1984 and 2000, but took the Olympic Committee 40 years to accept women's basketball. Making a splash at number 4, water sports. While many water sports are included in the Olympics, some have joined just in specific editions of the tournament. At the same time, others form even part of the major events. Different types of water sports are surfing, sailing, swimming, windsurfing, jet skiing, wakeboarding, and basically anything that you can think of in the water. The most popular water sports being diving. While diving is known to be amongst the oldest water sports, it was initially added to the Olympics in 1904. In light of its very daring nature, the sport is assumed to be one of the most popular sports of the Olympic Games. The other two popular water sports are sailing or yachting, which was part of the Olympics from 1896, and surfing, which debuted in 2020. They are both said to have very large followings. And into the top 3 most popular sports, coming in at number 3, athletics or track and field. Introduced into the Olympics in 1921 and 1928, this is one of the most watched sports of the historical Olympics. Made even more popular by a huge name associated alongside Olympics is that of Usain Bolt. Bolt has been the all-time fastest runner of the athletic events. While it is the biggest sport in the sense of both contesters and events, it fascinatingly draws people's attention in as much as there's nobody on the planet who would deny the amazement of watching the fastest men and women in the world. The largest single sport discipline of the Olympic Games, athletics is segregated into 3 parts of track, field and road events, which most likely adds up to its popularity as it has something for everyone. Coming in at number 2, swimming. We know, swimming is a water sport and we've already talked about water sports, but it has become such a popularity that it should be elaborated on in its own terms. The first time swimming appeared in the Olympics was in the 1930s. Both male and female athletes participate in all the segregated events under this discipline. There are predetermined strokes for each event. The overall discipline involves styles of swimming such as backstroke, butterfly, freestyle and breaststroke. The likes of Michael Phelps, who is the most decorated Olympian in history, as well as Mark Schmitz, who won 9 Olympic gold medals, and more recently Katie Ledecky, have seen the sport to be at the height of its fame, therefore making it come in at our number 2 spot. At the number 1 ranking of the top 10 most popular sports in the Olympics, we have gymnastics, as it is the first Olympic sport which has attracted the eyes of people from all countries and all ages. From the first modern Summer Olympic Games of 1896 in Athens, gymnastics took part in the competition. Although gymnastics is one of the most skillful sports, it has been the most watched Olympic sport since 1996. It involves 3 disciplines, namely artistic gymnastics, which includes both men and women, rhythmic gymnastics, which includes only females, and trampoline gymnastics, which is gymnastics performed on a trampoline. Gymnastics at the Olympics is a spectacle to behold with all the different disciplines involved. Which is your favorite Olympic sport to watch? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.